As the Under-20 African Cup of Nations is ongoing, we are steadily following the progress of our home team, the Flying Eagles. However, Ehab Galal, the goalkeeping coach for Egypt, has charged Nigeria with sending several overage players to the 2023 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Egypt. Egypt, the tournament's hosts, exited the competition after finishing joint bottom of Group A with a draw and 2 losses in their 3 first-round matches. In match day 2, the Young Pharaohs were defeated by Nigeria 1-0 after failing to respond to Solomon Agbalaka's towering header in the second half. While on game day 3, Senegal humiliated Egypt 4-0, ending their chances of making it to the World Cup. Ehab Galal, a member of Egypt's under-20 coaching staff, believes that Nigeria and Senegal's victory over the Young Pharaohs was made possible by the team's usage of players whose ages were forged. He accused Senegal's goalkeeper, Landin Badji, and Flying Eagles number 3, Agbalaka, as primary examples of their opponent's underhanded tactics. Both Agbalaka and Badji were named to the CAF's official team of the group stage, which must compound the sting Galal is feeling. Now, I do believe I have a guest with me on the line, Gbenga Gboyega, all the way from Abuja. Gbenga, good morning. Are you there? While we wait for Gbenga to join in, it bears mentioning that in the past, Nigeria, and as well as several other African nations, have been accused of fielding players who are beyond their age groups in all these under 20, under 17 competitions. Unfortunately, this accusation could ring true because of the reputation that we've built for ourselves in Africa and in Nigeria in particular. Galal may be crying over spilled milk, but he might have a case. And should such an accusation pick up traction, we might be looking at serious investigation. Galal admits, however, that Egypt's lack of preparation was another factor in the Young Pharaohs' dismal performance on home soil after accusing Agbalaka and Badji of being older than their stated years. The Young Pharaohs finished second at the 2022 Arab Cup Under-20. At the 2023 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Egypt, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has chosen Nigeria's Flying Eagles as the Group Stage Fair Play Award winner. And it will be interesting if Egypt decides to follow up on these accusations and potentially lodge a formal complaint. Do I have my guest on the line, I believe? Gbenga?
Yes.
Gbenga, yes, I can hear you. Welcome on the show. It has been a roller coaster for Nigeria at the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. Losing our first game to Senegal by just 1 goal, but managing to pick up a win against Egypt has allowed us to get through the group stages. And now, this accusation comes out from Egypt's goalkeeping coach. He's the only one who has gone on record right now to accuse Nigeria. But this might be him speaking up about feelings that are percolating internally amongst the Egyptian staff. What do you make of this accusation?
So, if he has fans, he should come out and lay out the fans. If he knows them one-on-one, or he has access to their records or whatever, when it comes to legal issues like this, when it comes to accusations like this, you don't make them like you come out with facts. We had this discussion and also this instance before the championship started, the Under-20 championship, where even countries like Cameroon produced players that failed MRI tests twice. And so when it comes to players being failed above the required age, I don't think the narrative boils down to Nigeria alone. But I understand where the Egyptian goalkeeper is coming from. If you see a team performing at such level, and there are things that you can mention that can be at their detriment, you will go ahead and do it. It's mind games. It's what happens in the championship. But I feel like that narrative shouldn't be down to Nigeria alone. We saw that different countries had that same issue. But if the country was signed valid to go ahead, any accusation should come out with fact.
Does it say a lot about the preparation that goes into building our players to compete at the level that these players tend to compete in at under 20 and even at senior level? Does it speak poorly of how early in life that these players get into the game, so much so that the coaching staff have to register them as underaged in order to get them to compete for them?
I think we still have this issue of transition from a particular age group to another particular age group. Most of these players didn't feature for the under 17. So one would expect that the players we had in the under 17 that are now beyond 17 should one way or the other have easy transition into the under 20. But we are not seeing that. Most of these players in the under 20 are fresh. Most of them had to be picked by Ladan Boso to come and try themselves. I remember in January, even players from Europe, some of them had to be sent back because you never met them before. That's the problem. There is no transition from under 17. So people cannot even trace that, oh, I know this guy. He was 16 once upon a time. He's now 17. He's now 18. So beyond the accusations, beyond the facts, eye test can tell us that these guys grew through the ranks. But when you bring them out from nowhere, there will definitely be questions.
Some of the very best players in the world, Messi, Ronaldo, Kylian Mbappe, they all started playing football for local youth teams as early as age 6. And by the time they were 12, they were already in academies that belonged to proper football clubs. Like Barcelona picked up Lionel Messi from the age of 12, between 12 and 14. So understandably, of course, before they got to that age group, their development was steady. Meanwhile, when you look at players like Didier Drogba, for example, he started playing football relatively late. He was already 19, in his 20s by the time he started playing football at all. And he definitely didn't go through the rigorous, prolonged academy phase. And is that still a problem that we're dealing with in Africa as a whole, that players are coming into the game so late that in order for them to be considered in order for them to be given the opportunity to develop properly, they're being played in age groups that they have aged past?
See, at the end of the day, I don't think we run a football academic structure in Africa, or let me say Nigeria, where I'm more used to. I don't think we run that. When we talk about club football, we only talk about the training ground, the coach, and the pitch. We don't talk about academics. We don't talk about how these people are groomed. You mentioned a lot of names. You could also mention Mason Mount. Mason Mount got to the Chelsea Academy at the age of 6, at the age of 7, at the age of 8. They were going through the ranks. Erling Haaland, we started scoring goals at the young age of 15. So there are a lot of gap. There's a lot of gap, pardon me, when it comes to the academic structure. We don't have that in Africa. What we just have is players come, the coach tests them in a training ground and say, okay, I like what this player is bringing. Let him be part of the club. Then he starts training with the team and they start playing matches. There is no academy. There is no, aside from the coach of the club, who is the youth development officer? Who are the backroom staff? Who are the scout managers? Who are the technical directors? Who are the sporting directors? We don't really have that when it comes to our client, and that is what is missing. We just have clubs.
You're so right. But I want to talk finally about prolonging careers. We've seen so often that a lot of players coming out of Africa, by the age of 30, they've slowed down significantly compared to their foreign comrades who at 32, 33 are stepping away from the international stage and are prolonging their careers for another 5 now, maybe for the likes of Ronaldo, Messi, who may end up playing till they're 40, we're seeing that these players are able to prolong due to the facilities that are available. Players are taking a greater handle over their own nutrition, hiring personal
Yeah.
physios, personal coaches. They're building home gyms for themselves. Obviously, are we ready? Our own players, is the mentality, the culture ready for that, for us to compete at that level with players from Europe and elsewhere?
I would start with where you ended. You ended with players themselves taking laws into their hands. Why would they take laws into their hands? Because they are knowledgeable, they are informed, they've gone through the academics to understand that beyond what the club would offer me, I have a role to play in my personal fitness and hygiene. It starts from the learning culture. So in Nigeria or in Africa, the average Nigerian player who is coming through the ranks, who is a youngster, doesn't understand that aside from what the club will provide, I also need to work on my personal fitness. The average Nigerian youngster doesn't even know that he has to maybe employ a personal gym instructor, a fitness coach, or maybe do certain things on his own. That's why most of them they complain. My club is not doing this for me. My club is not doing that for me. It starts and ends with the learning culture. And once we get it right from the academy, once we get it right from the grassroots, then the knowledge is inculcated in these players that